Welcome to Simply Good, Cooking with Rebecca. Today I'll be making a spinach and white bean salad with a tomato basil dressing and homemade Parmesan croutons. It's a really light salad, it's fairly healthy, there's very little oil in the dressing as it's primarily a tomato base. Alright, first thing we want to do is get our white beans going. I like to steam them a little bit. I find that if you use them just out of the can they can be a little chalky. I also like to rinse them to get some of the thick kind of canning liquid off of them, and it reduces the salt a little bit. So just a quick rinse, and then I just put them in a small saucepan with a steamer basket. Alright, so I'm just going to put the beans on high. You just want to bring that to a boil and let it cook for just a minute or so. Really, it's just kind of bringing it to a boil, letting them steam a little bit. I find it gives them a little better texture. While I'm here, I'm just going to preheat the oven for my croutons. You want to preheat that to 350, and then now I'll go work on making my croutons. I'm using just baguette of French bread, and you want to cut your croutons into about 1-inch cubes. You want about 4 cups. So I just make about 1-inch slices, and then I come back and cut these again. Just kind of a rough, large crouton chop. You want 4 cups. Alright, I finished cutting up my bread cubes. I've used about half the baguette. Now I'm just going to toss these in about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. If I could get the lid off. There we go. Alright, it's just 6 tablespoons to kind of coat the bread so that the cheese will stick. Just toss that. Now we're going to add a few grinds of black pepper. About a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. A little over 1 big handful is about a cup. And 1 clove of garlic. I'm going to press this. You can mince it if you'd like. I find pressing's easier and doesn't leave any big chunks of garlic. Alright, so we've got everything in with our croutons, and you just give that a quick toss. Get the bread nice and coated with the cheese. Then you're just going to put these on a sheet pan. And if a lot of your cheese stays in the bowl, that's alright, you can just sprinkle it on top. Okay, and these go in the oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown. I noticed while I was over here, my beans come to a boil. I'll just turn those off and set them aside to cool. Alright, our croutons are baking in the oven, so we're going to go ahead and mix up our dressing for the salad. I mix it all up in a blender and then puree it in the blender, and it's really easy. Then you can just dump it right from the blender onto the salad. So first, it's 1 medium tomato. And since this is going in a blender, I just rough chop things. So, I just quarter the tomato, drop it in. 2 green onions. Again, you don't have to be too worried about how it's chopped, but you don't want any large pieces of green onion either, so you want to make sure that they're easily accessible to the blender blades. So green onion. We're going to have 2 cloves of garlic. That one's giant, so we'll just use 1. Just rough chop our garlic. Okay, so I'm just going to chiffonade a few leaves of basil into the dressing. It doesn't need to be a real tight chiffonade because it's going to be blended up. But we want a few grinds of black pepper. Pinch of salt. And instead of vinegar, I don't really care for vinegar very much, so I use lemon juice. I feel like it gives it a really bright flavor. You can, of course, use vinegar if you don't have any lemon juice. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. Then you just blend it all together until it's pureed. Alright, and that's your dressing. Okay, so our croutons look just about perfect. I'm going to pull them out and let them cool. You don't want to add hot croutons to your spinach. After our beans and croutons have cooled to about room temperature, about 20 minutes or so, we just have to toss everything together and our salad's complete. So we're going to get our spinach. This is just a 10-ounce bag of pre-washed baby spinach. Regular spinach works great too. We add in our beans. Okay, so our spinach and our beans are in the bowl, and we're just going to pour on the dressing. Give that a quick toss. And then the last thing to go in is your croutons. And they just get sprinkled on top. That's our spinach and white bean salad with tomato basil dressing and Parmesan croutons. It's great for a hot summer evening. It's a nice, light, bright, fresh tasting dish, and it's simply good.